In this video, we're going to be talking about the sketchbook assignment, The Longest Line. And there are two components to this assignment, but first we'll talk about materials. So just like a lot of these sketchbook assignments, you can use any material that you have available to you. My favorite thing to use is a Sharpie pen, and you can see it has a really fine tip here that I can get some really tiny details. You could use anything with a small tip. You don't want to complete this assignment with say a large point Sharpie or a larger marker. We want something with a small tip. Ideally, we want something that we cannot erase, because similar to a Zentangle, this is the type of assignment where if you make a mistake, you have to use your creativity to figure out how to incorporate it into your design. So some sort of permanent material, any kind of pen, marker that has a fine point.
So now we're going to talk about how you're going to create this. There are two parts to this assignment, and part number one, as you can see in this time lapse, is the longest line. So you're going to take your pen or drawing utensil, you're going to start on your paper somewhere, it does not matter where you start, and you're going to just draw a line. You're going to squiggle it. You can see I'm squiggling and turning and kind of tracing, and there you see me drawing a flower and a heart, and I'm doing all of this without picking my pen up. Now, if I do pick my pen up, I'm making sure to put it back where I left off. This whole time-lapse drawing that you're seeing me do, I'm not able to fill up the paper in the amount of time I had. This took me about 10 minutes to do, and I filled up about a third of my paper. So this should be something that takes you a while. If you finish this in under 10 minutes, you're working way too fast. You're not working small and detailed enough. So you can see when I do this, I get a little obsessive and I don't like to have my lines touch. I like it to be kind of like a maze, but that's not a rule. You can certainly have your lines touch. My lines are more organic. They're curlicues, they're spirals, they're squiggles. You can be more geometric with your lines. You can try to hide some different images within here. It is totally up to you how you do this. This is a great thing to do when you're kind of absent-mindedly, watching TV at home. And if you end up making a mistake, you want to just go in and figure out, okay, what can I do? Can I maybe color that in to make it work with my design?
So the first part is drawing your line. You want to fill up your whole paper like I did, and you want to make the lines tight together. You want them to be small and detailed, okay? We do not want this to be one big scribble. Part two is you're gonna go over the top of this with some sort of materials to add color. And the way that I approached this, I did use a pencil. I had a specific design I wanted to do. So I drew these teardrop shapes, these kind of floral shapes. If I'm being honest, I found this design online and I stole it. I did not come up with it. If you're really impressed with my creativity here. But you want to draw 3 or 4 shapes. I drew a lot. You do not have to do as many as I did, but if you have the time, why not? And then once you draw the shape on there, and I drew it, like I said earlier, very lightly with pencil, so in case I messed up, I could erase and you wouldn't see. And then I went through with a washable marker and I colored them in. Now when I colored mine, and you can see, especially if we focus on this flower shape right here, you can see I used 2 different shades of pink to fill this in. I kind of alternated every other. I did that with all of these little spaces. You can see it really clearly here with the green and yellow. And I liked the way that looked because I thought it really allowed my lines that I had drawn to stand out. If I would have just colored each of these shapes all the same color, you might kind of lose some of the detail in your line work. Again, that's up to you how you complete that. Colored pencils, crayons would work. You would maybe have a difficult time getting in between your lines if you are using crayon, but that's an option. Washable markers, Sharpie. You could also use watercolor paint if you have that available to you. So again, with the longest line, it should be something that takes you a little bit of time. You might come back to it after multiple sittings, and it has the two parts. Part 1 is the longest line that squiggles all around your page, and part 2 is the shapes that you put on top of it and color those in. Materials you should use for this are small point Sharpies or pens or markers, something that's going to be permanent.
And as usual, use your creativity and have fun with this. Push yourself and get out of your comfort zone a little bit.